If I told you Ping, Callaway, TaylorMade, Titleist and PXG had not brought any new clubs out in over 3 years in their iron department, you'd start to worry. That's exactly what Takomo have done, but they've brought some irons out, they're back with a bang, and they want you to rip it up in a fair way. And you might be thinking, well, you're stood on a tee, so why are you saying rip it up in a fair way? But that is Takomo's new kind of slogan towards these irons, because it's a fair way to buy clubs because they are affordable. It's fair for you to get these clubs, to rip it up on a fairway and play well, because we've still kept the main thing that you're all thinking about, and that is that price point. We've seen the likes of Grant Horvath, we've seen the likes of the Bryan Bros, we've seen the likes of Luke Kwan, all huge, massive superstars in the YouTube world using these golf clubs. And once you think you start to see the stars, do you start to think and worry that the price will go up? Well, the price hasn't increased with these irons. We've got a lot of new things in the technology. One thing we have got is the exact same performance, a fantastic feel for an affordable club. So let's talk about these irons. So introducing the brand new 101 Mark II iron. We also then have the 201 Mark II, and we also have a 201T, which is a unique golf club or a unique area of irons that Takomo have, believe potentially that they've created a player's precision iron. But let's go through them all, let's talk about the technology and which ones potentially will go in your bag. Now first up we have the 201 Mark II. So I'm going to go right in the middle, and when we talk about this 201 Mark II, what is it replacing, or is it a brand new iron? Is it that player's precision iron? Well, no, it is replacing, whilst I find a lie. The ground is currently frozen, guys. It is 2 degrees out here, so I'm trying to find the best lie possible. But this iron is a direct replacement for the 101T. So the 101T has now moved into the 201s. We are getting exactly what we expect. We're getting that nice blade length. We're getting a nice, relatively thin top line, a little bit of offset, but not too much. But the main thing we are getting from this now is a variable thickness face. They've also changed the way these are made, so they are cast and milled to get that variable thickness face, to get more forgiveness, get more durability. So straight away, yes, no clubs for 3 years. Have they changed? There's a lot of things that have changed, as you will see on screen. But one thing that hasn't changed, like I've mentioned, is what we can do with these golf clubs, which is get a fantastic penetrating ball flight, get plenty of control, get distance control. That 6 iron's gone 180 yards, it's landed just to the right of the flag, and it has stopped pretty quickly. So straight away from this club, I'm getting what I expect from Takomo. Performance, good feel, and the main thing, still that nice affordable price. But let's now talk about the other 2 irons that have come out, because we know the 201 Mark II is probably going to be one of the best sellers, I would say, for Takomo. We've got 2 very interesting options either side. Now I want to go into the irons that are going to potentially be for me, which is a 201T Mark II iron, which is the unique new iron area that Takomo are calling a player's precision iron, because as you can see, still hollow bodied. But when we talk about all these irons, we do have now progressive weighting throughout. So obviously weighting changing throughout the set to get you the desired ball flight, to get you consistency, and to get you a good gap in. So progressive weighting is another thing that has been added. If we're talking about handicap wise, Takomo have labelled these clubs now. So for the 201 Mark IIs, which were the 101Ts of previous generation, they're saying from a 5 handicap all the way up to a 25 handicap. And you might be thinking, well, that's an incredibly wide range, but that's what Takomo have offered in these hollow body designs. Now with the variable thickness face, it can tick a lot of boxes for a lot of golfers. Components, we still have KBS and Lambkin grips. We do also have other graphite options in the shaft area. So again, you could have some light graphite shafts in there just like mid-handicap Dave and get the same kind of performance out of those. A nice high launch, a lot of forgiveness, good distance, the same as a 5 handicap golfer with a steel 120 KBS, for example. But we're talking about these now. So the 201T Mark II, it's kind of not a Mark II, is it? Because it's a brand new area. But we do now have a thinner sole. We do now have a shorter blade length. We do now have an even thinner top line. So these are all pushing you towards, as Takomo say, a 0 to 15 handicapper. But we also need to talk about weighting. So we do have a tungsten bar from the 4 iron down to the 7 iron, and then we do have a steel bar underneath that from your 8 iron to your pitching wedge. So in both the 201 sets we do have a 4 to pitching wedge setup, and again, like Takomo say, fairway to play golf, because it's affordable and performance there is ridiculous. Again, a great launch set, a great feel off the face, and I'm very much liking these. But the two clubs that we've talked about and all the technology in them, with a variable thickness face, with the milling, with the different casting, with the options in shaft, and also the looks of these, might not be the best seller of these new clubs, because we know for Takomo the 101 was the best seller of the previous generation, and you can see mid-handicap Dave testing these clubs out because he put the 101 through its paces. We now have a thicker bottom edge, we have a thicker top edge, we have more offset, we have a game improvement iron, but one of what Takomo claim the best looking game improvement irons. But get those comments below, guys. Let me know, what are you looking forward to, because I truly believe that this is potentially going to be the biggest launch of 2026, and it is only the 7th of January, and that is because they haven't brought any out for 3 years, which is unheard of when we think about irons from other companies. We know your premium brands are bringing clubs out left, right and centre every single year. There's a matching set to go potentially with the driver, and then from there they do bring out other ranges, maybe game improvement, maybe more players irons. So get in those comments below, guys. Do you think this is going to be one of the biggest releases, or what release are you looking forward to? Let me know. But let's now talk about this 101 that I think could still be Takomo's top seller. Now finally up is the 101 Mark II, so the original from Takomo, which has been the best seller like we've mentioned, and you'll see a change of scenery because James Robinson was making some magic with these clubs and I didn't have a chance to film it. So what we do have here is still behind the golf ball, we have that white line at the bottom, and it's something that I've mentioned that wasn't there before because I've had time to check that. It wasn't there before, very much like Ping, very much like PXG, which I know they use it for different lie angles to make sure that's right. For me, I think it'll be good for alignment, for squaring that up. But this is the game improvement iron. So what we have here is the largest head size, the most offset. But for me, you see from the launch, a nice high launch there. Feels nice and soft off the face, and that's the big thing that we want when it comes to game improvement, because how many times you get a game improvement iron and it sounds clicky, it looks huge, it looks terrible. You'll see on screen this still looks as good as the other two clubs, so in the bag appeal it looks fantastic, and that's something that Takomo have built themselves on. So the first editions, the Gen 1 irons, all looked great. They could fit in a bag. Everybody asked what are those, and they wouldn't believe the price. Price again for these, for the game improvements, $550. So again, half the price of your TaylorMades and Callaways. A better strike there, but a very similar launch, launching in the same window. One big thing that we need to do is get numbers with these irons, and that's going to be in a video coming next week, guys, because I want to get these on the launch point to see how consistent they are, because one big thing again Takomo prided themselves on was performance. They could compete, and I've done videos in the past against the TaylorMade P790, the club that we all think about when we think about these clubs, and they did perform as well. So we need to get some numbers. But like I said, throughout these three irons we do have now that variable thickness face, which I think is going to be a massive thing for Takomo and a massive reason why you would buy these irons. More forgiving the Generation 1s, you're probably maybe thinking about buying some new irons, and these could slip straight into your bag to replace your previous Takomos. Again, we have that progressive weighting to optimize those ball flights, and we have more technology in that 201T Mark II with a tungsten steel bar in there to get different ball flights, to get more forgiveness, to potentially get them in your bag at an affordable price. So fairway, yes, it is a fair way to buy golf clubs because we're saving money, we're getting performance, but check out next week's video where we put it through the paces right here with some numbers.